Welcome, seekers of knowledge, to a journey that transcends the boundaries of our mortal understanding. My name is Birapogu Jargan, and today we embark on a profound exploration, a deep dive into one of humanity's most enduring and unsettling concepts, the idea of hell. For millennia, across countless cultures and diverse faiths, we have pondered what lies beyond the veil of death, especially for those whose lives are deemed wicked or unjust. This notion of a realm of punishment, a place of ultimate consequence, has shaped our morality, our art, our fears, and our hopes in ways we are still unraveling. Today we venture into these shadowed landscapes of the human psyche and spirit. We'll explore the very essence of what hell is conceived to be, examining its myriad forms as envisioned by some of the world's major religions. What are these infernal realms like? What terrifying punishments are said to await the transgressors? Is there any hope for escape? Any glimmer of forgiveness once one has entered these domains of despair? These are not just abstract theological questions. They touch upon our deepest anxieties about justice, retribution, and the ultimate meaning of our actions here on earth. Join me as we navigate these complex and often frightening territories. We will look at the rulers said to govern these underworlds, the timelines for judgment, and whether earthly connections hold any sway in such desolate places. Our quest is not to instill fear, but to foster understanding, to see how these ancient narratives reflect our collective search for order and meaning in a universe that often seems chaotic. Prepare yourselves as we open the gates and peer into the diverse visions of hell. So, what is hell? At its core, across a vast spectrum of beliefs, hell is generally understood as a realm, a state of being, or a spiritual dimension reserved for the punishment of the wicked after death. It is the ultimate repository of suffering, a consequence meticulously tailored to the transgressions of a lifetime. But to leave it at that would be to merely scratch the surface of a concept so deeply woven into the fabric of human consciousness. Is it a literal place, burning beneath our feet, or a metaphor for spiritual desolation, an eternal separation from a divine source of goodness and light? The interpretations are as varied as the faiths that propose them. This idea, this powerful motif of a post-mortem reckoning, seems to spring from a fundamental human need for justice, for a universe where actions have ultimate and inescapable consequences. It speaks to our innate understanding that good should be rewarded and evil punished. Perhaps hell is the ultimate expression of that moral imperative, a cosmic balancing of the scales. The forms it takes, the torments it promises, often mirror our deepest terrestrial fears: pain, isolation, loss, and unending despair. It is a dark mirror reflecting our own capacity for cruelty, but also our profound desire for a just and ordered existence, even beyond the confines of life itself. The landscape of hell is not monolithic, rather it is a diverse and terrifying archipelago of suffering, uniquely charted by different faiths. In Christianity, we encounter terms like Hades or Sheol, often seen as a shadowy realm of the dead, distinct from Gehenna, the place of fiery judgment, or the ultimate lake of fire, a symbol of eternal separation. Islam describes Jahannam, a multi-layered abyss, often depicted with 7 distinct gates, each leading to a progressively more severe level of punishment, reserved for different categories of sinners. The sheer scale and organization of these hells speak to a meticulous divine justice, where every sin finds its corresponding consequence, its specific place in the geography of damnation. Hinduism presents us with the concept of Naraka, a complex system that can include up to 28 different hells, each designed to purify a soul from specific karmic debts through intense, though temporary, suffering. Similarly, Buddhism describes various narakas, often categorized into 8 hot hells and 8 cold hells, each with its own unique and horrifying tortures, a direct result of one's negative karma. Jainism, too, speaks of Naraka Lokas, 7 lower realms of existence where beings endure immense suffering due to their past karmic burdens. This intricate mapping of torment across faiths reveals a shared human attempt to categorize wrongdoing and to visualize the profound consequences of our actions, creating a moral compass pointed towards a life of virtue. The punishments described within these infernal realms are as varied and terrifying as the hells themselves, often reflecting the nature of the sins committed. In many Christian traditions, the dominant imagery is of eternal fire, unquenchable flames that consume yet never destroy, coupled with profound darkness and an overwhelming sense of anguish and separation from God. Islamic texts paint vivid pictures of suffering in Jahannam, raging fires that melt skin only for it to be renewed for further torment, the drinking of boiling water and pus, and the wearing of garments made of fire. These descriptions are not merely meant to frighten, but to convey the utter horror and degradation that results from rejecting divine guidance. Hindu narakas feature a grim catalogue of retributions. Souls might be boiled in oil, torn apart by demonic creatures, beaten mercilessly, or forced to embrace red-hot metal figures, each punishment corresponding to specific earthly misdeeds. Buddhist narakas are equally explicit, with beings endlessly burned in fiery pits, frozen in icy, desolate wastes, pierced by sharp weapons or crushed under mountains, the duration and intensity determined by the weight of their negative karma. Jain cosmology details similar excruciating experiences in its Naraka Lokas, where beings suffer from being crushed, stabbed, and subjected to unbearable extremes of temperature and pain. The sheer visceral nature of these punishments across traditions underscores the gravity of moral transgression and the profound suffering believed to follow. Once consigned to the depths of hell, is there any hope for reprieve, any chance of forgiveness or escape? The answers diverge significantly, painting different pictures of divine justice and mercy. In many interpretations of Christianity, particularly those emphasizing eternal damnation, the judgment after death is final. Once a soul is condemned to hell, there is no further opportunity for repentance or forgiveness. The separation from God is absolute and everlasting. This perspective underscores the ultimate importance of one's choices and faith during their earthly life, as the consequences are seen as irreversible and eternal. However, other traditions offer a more nuanced view. In Islam, while disbelievers and those who commit unforgivable sins like shirk, polytheism, may face eternal punishment, it is believed that some Muslims who enter Jahannam for their sins may eventually be released through the mercy of Allah or the intercession of the Prophet Muhammad after they have been purified. In the Eastern religions like Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism, the concept of hell or naraka is generally not eternal. It is a temporary, albeit terrifyingly long state where a soul exhausts its negative karma. Once the karmic debt is paid, the soul is reborn into another state of existence, with the opportunity to strive again for liberation or a better rebirth. This cyclical view offers a path to eventual redemption, however arduous. Chapter 5. Severed Ties. Do earthly bonds endure in damnation? In the throes of unimaginable suffering, would the memory of loved ones offer solace, or would earthly relationships even exist in such realms? For many Abrahamic traditions, the answer is stark. In most Christian and Islamic views of hell, earthly relationships, memories of loved ones, or social connections are generally considered to be either entirely absent or utterly useless. The torment is often depicted as an intensely personal and isolating experience, where each soul faces its punishment alone, cut off from any form of comfort or communion that might have been cherished in life. The focus is on the individual's relationship with the divine, or the consequences of its lack thereof, rendering worldly ties irrelevant in the face of eternal judgment. In the Dharmic religions, Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism, the concept is framed differently due to the doctrine of rebirth. While specific memories of past lives, including relationships, are generally not carried over into a new birth, including a birth in Naraka, the karmic connections might subtly influence circumstances. However, the idea of recognizing or interacting with loved ones from a past human life while in a hellish realm is rare or considered largely absent. The suffering in Naraka is so overwhelming and self-absorbed that it precludes meaningful connection. Furthermore, the very nature of the rebirth cycle means that souls are constantly transitioning, making lasting connections across such vastly different states of existence improbable. The isolation in these hells, therefore, stems more from the karmic condition and the intensity of suffering itself. Chapter 6. Wardens of Woe, the custodians of the underworld. Who, if anyone, presides over these realms of retribution? Does a singular malevolent entity rule, or is hell governed by divine decree or impersonal laws? In Christianity, while Satan or the devil is often associated with hell and tempting humans to sin, he is not its ruler in the sense of a king governing his domain. Rather, God is ultimately sovereign over all creation, including hell, and Satan himself is considered a fallen angel, also subject to God's judgment and destined for punishment. Hell, in this view, is a place of God's righteous wrath against sin, not a kingdom administered by a demonic overlord. In Islam, the chief guardian of Jahannam is an angel named Malik, a stern and unwavering figure who oversees the punishment of its inhabitants according to God's command. He is not evil but an obedient servant of Allah, carrying out divine justice. Hindu and Buddhist traditions often feature Yama, the god of death and justice, who presides over the Narakas. Yama is not inherently malevolent, but acts as a righteous judge, meticulously weighing the karma of souls and dispatching them to the appropriate realm for their purification. In Jainism, however, there isn't a specific ruler or deity governing the Naraka Lokas. Instead, the workings of hell are an automatic consequence of the laws of karma. Souls are drawn to these realms and experience suffering based purely on the weight and nature of their past actions, an impersonal cosmic mechanism. Chapter 7. The final passage, Timelines of Judgment and Descent. When does the journey to hell begin? Is it an immediate consequence following death, or is there an interim period awaiting for a final collective judgment? Christian eschatology often speaks of a particular judgment at the time of death, determining the soul's immediate fate, but also a future general judgment day when Christ returns and all humanity, living and dead, will be judged collectively. Some interpretations suggest souls may enter a state like Hades or Sheol to await this final verdict before their ultimate assignment to heaven or the lake of fire. This creates a timeline with stages of reckoning. Islamic beliefs also present a nuanced timeline. There is the concept of barzakh, an intermediary state between death and the day of resurrection. Some interpretations suggest that the torment or bliss of the grave can begin immediately after death, serving as a prelude. The final decisive judgment and consignment to Jannah or Jahannam occurs after the day of judgment. However, for the exceptionally wicked, some traditions imply a more immediate experience of hell's foretaste. In stark contrast, the Eastern religions of Hinduism, Buddhism and Jainism generally posit a more immediate transition based on karma. Upon death, the soul, guided by its karmic balance, is swiftly reborn into its next existence, which could be one of the narakas if the negative karma is overwhelmingly heavy. There isn't typically a concept of a universal judgment day. The process is continuous and individual. Outro reflections from the abyss, understanding our mortal coil. And so our journey through the varied and vivid landscapes of hell across different religions comes to a close. We have peered into the abyss, not to embrace the darkness, but to understand the profound ways in which humanity has grappled with concepts of justice, consequence, and the afterlife. From fiery pits to icy wastes, from eternal damnation to temporary purgation, the idea of hell serves as a powerful, albeit sobering, reflection of our moral aspirations and our deepest fears. It is a testament to our enduring quest to find meaning and order in the cosmos. These narratives, though often stark and unsettling, remind us of the weight of our actions and the interconnectedness of our choices with our ultimate fate, however conceived. Whether viewed as literal realms or potent metaphors for spiritual suffering, the concept of hell has undeniably shaped civilizations, ethical systems, and individual lives for millennia. Thank you for joining me, Birapogu Jagan, on this thought-provoking exploration. The mysteries of existence are vast, and by questioning and seeking, we continue to illuminate the path of understanding. We hope this exploration has offered you new perspectives and deepened your appreciation for the diverse tapestry of human belief. If you found this journey insightful, please don't forget to like this video, share it with others who might be intrigued, and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the fascinating questions that shape our world. Until next time, may your reflections be profound and your quest for knowledge unending.